Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Shop Class. My name is Kyle, and on this channel, I pop open the hood on Barbershop Harmony to show you what all the magic is about. Today's video is another tag analysis video, a series where I harmonically analyze tags to give you the best approach to singing them. Before we get started, I just want to mention something I forgot in the last video. The tag analysis series is based on viewer requests. If you have a tag you want me to analyze, go ahead and put it in the comments right now. Doesn't matter what or where it is, even if you wrote it yourself. Speaking of tags written by yourself, today's tag is requested and provided by one Darwin Scheel. Mr. Scheel runs a website called dnstags.com, which is a huge tag repository. I definitely recommend you go check it out. Mr. Scheel has given us a ballad tag today called I'm Alone and Blue. Check it out.
I'm alone and blue. Please come back home.
All right. Sounds pretty good. We've got some interesting stuff in here to go over. First thing I'm going to do, as usual, is I go through and I'm going to do just a chord analysis. And I do that in chord symbols or lead sheet notation. So we're going to get right into that. All right. So to start off here, it looks like we're in D major. And we got D, A, D, F sharp. So I'm going to say that that is a D major chord there. The next one, the lead changes down to a C sharp, giving us a D major 7 chord. Always a pretty color. And here we go again. We've got G, D, B, the F sharp and the tenor stays. So that gives us a G major 7 chord. Great color. Now, this is cool because this is sort of like it's called a voice crossing. It's where the tenor goes down and the baritone goes up, and they sort of swap notes and they go through the same note to get there because you can see they go through the E before getting to the next chord. So this is cool because this middle chord here, this gives us an E minor chord over G, and then again we arrive on a G major 7 because the notes are the same, they just swapped in the parts. Pretty cool how that works. And then we get to this chord. No doubt when you heard this, you struggled to put a name with it. And when I started analyzing this tag, I will admit that I did as well. Traditional music theory, as well as some jazz harmony basics, tells me that this chord right here, the first two beats of it should be built as an A sus7 13 chord, basically, because it will resolve down to an A7 on beat 3. But jazz harmony and music theory in general in Western music exists in a tuning system known as equal temperament, in which lots of different colors and chromatic capabilities are available. Barbershop harmony is written in equal temperament on paper, but it is not performed in equal temperament, and that actually gives me some limitations on how I should analyze this chord. So, with the notes that are present and with some, you know, just intonation, which is the tuning model of barbershop, with some just intonation rules sort of forwarding this, I'm going to analyze this as not an A chord, but as a G chord with an A in the bass acting as a 9. Now, this chord will be very hard to ring, obviously, but in essence, it wants to be a jazz chord. But barbershop tuning theory tells me that I should analyze this chord as a G major 7 chord over A. And I know that A is not necessarily in a G major 7 chord because if it was, it would be a G major 9 chord. Fun fact, G major 9 chords aren't allowed in barbershop because it has 5 notes and there are only 4 singers. And it's stated that there's not enough information that can be stored in one of the 4 parts to give the essence of the chord. It always would sound like something else. But in this case, it sort of adds as a slash, it acts as a slash chord, in which it is just a chord over a different root in the bass, which we're going to say A. And this is outlined in both of these beats because the lead moves in between the 5 and the 3 of a G major 7 chord. So I'm just going to say it's for the first two beats. And then we get something that's a lot more familiar. On beat 3, we have a standard A barbershop 7 chord. On the word come, we have the same thing that occurred on the word and with alone and blue. We have wonderful voice leading here, which brings us into a big, powerful chord. We come from an F sharp minor chord over A, the minor third in the bass, and we arrive at a wonderfully full voiced A7 chord, finally resolving to B major. Now, what I do is I do the Roman numeral analysis, and that shows functional harmony in how the chords relate to one another and how we arrive at the end. The general rule of thumb with Roman numerals is that it matters much less what is in the front. It does not matter what chords you start on or what weird progressions are in the front. The rule is kind of in functional harmony and especially in barbershop music, particularly tags, because of the feeling of resolution, you want to end on one. So in the key of D major, if I was to analyze this in the key of D major, we go through the Roman numerals in that stead, and then we would end on the B major, which is the major 6 chord. And that is very odd, and that doesn't make a lot of theory sense because this falls into the category of what I would call a modulation tag. And my rule for analyzing modulation tags is what I suggest, but it's just my opinion. You should think ahead to the key that you end in and analyze the whole tag in that tonality. Luckily for us, D major is related relative minor to B minor as a key signature. So this works out great, how we can make this work. So I'm going to put a lowercase b for B minor, space here, and D major in the key of B minor gives us major flat 3. Moving on. I've mentioned this in other videos, but I will do a video in the future on this specific concept. D major chord shares the same flavor as D major 7. Only one note changes and the idea of D major is preserved. So I don't actually have to put another Roman numeral because it would be the same Roman numeral twice in a row. And you don't have to do that unless it's a new measure, really. So now we get to G major. G major in the key of B minor would give us the flat major 6 chord. Now we get to the E minor over G chord. It's treated as a passing chord. So, in some respects, I could analyze this with a P and then put some chord information next to it to show that it's just passing. But that only works in certain cadential progressions. So, on this one, I'm just going to analyze it as E minor, which in the key of B is minor 4. So we'll do minor 4. And in traditional music theory, I would put a 6 to denote that the G or the third is in the bass. And here again on the word blue, we've got another G major 7. So we'll put a flat major 6 there. Now we get to the G major 7 over A chord. When it comes to slash chords, like I mentioned, the A not being a part of the G major 7 chord, in jazz harmony, if you're doing a Roman numeral analysis, the slash chord bears no significance being a bass note or anything to the chord tonality. As far as functional harmony goes, this G major 7 acts as the flat major 6 in the key of B minor. And then on beat 3, we get the A7 chord. So that is the flat major 7 7 chord in B minor. We get another voice cross passing through the chords. So this F sharp minor in the key of B is minor 5 in first inversion because the A is on the bottom. So I'll put a 6. And this final A7 chord, which again is just really wonderfully voiced, is again the flat major 7 7, which brings us, unsurprisingly, to our tonic chord, which through the progression of the tag doesn't feel like tonic, but as I've demonstrated here with the functional harmony, really is the tonic chord. We get a Picardy cadence where in a minor key you end on the major 1 chord. So now that I've got all this down and everyone is slightly less confused about what's going on here, I'm just going to address this third or second measure here on the word please, and I'm going to instruct for some tuning and why I had to analyze it like this. The only real thing that you need to watch out for is in the baritone G on beats 1 and 2, you need to be high on the G and provide a sense of tonic for the lead and tenor voices while not clashing really heavily with the bass. And then on the A7 chord, you can back out of that chord a little bit and bring the pitch down to ring your 7 because that is a true barbershop 7 chord there. I just thought I'd go ahead and mention that, and you can hear it in the recording, which you'll hear at the end of this video. All right, well, that does it for today's tag analysis video of I'm Alone and Blue by Mr. Darwin Scheel. If you enjoyed this video, found it helpful, found it fascinating, go ahead and like it and share it with all your barbershop friends. Don't forget to go ahead and comment below a tag that you want me to analyze. Just if it's hard to find, let me know where to find it. If you wrote it yourself, be sure to tell me that. And if you see a tag down there that you want and somebody already wrote it, just go ahead and upvote that comment so I can tally the numbers. Thank you so much for watching. I hope the rest of your day is awesome. Please enjoy I'm Alone and Blue by Darwin Scheel.
I'm